Hi, everyone. I don't know, this is all new because I'm not using my phone. So I'm hoping someone can hear me. I'm just waiting for someone to kind of come on and tell me that they can hear me. Normally, I use my phone, and I don't know. I'm using my computer. I'm seeing if this works here. So I guess I gotta go talk to the computer here too as well. So again, I just wanted to kind of come on here because a couple of people asked me about fear and working on fear and working through fear with development. And people get held back to some degree because they can't schedule a reading, or they went to schedule a reading and they want to cancel it already, and that's fine. Hi everyone. You guys can hear me okay? Someone just say you guys can hear me, because I'm using my MacBook, which is all new to me. I usually use my phone, so I guess I should talk to the camera here. But yes, just someone could give me something like yes, we can hear you just fine. Good. I see a thumbs up. Cool. So anyway, so I'm coming on here because we want to talk about fear and doubt in your mediumship. So I think that it could be a twofold question after I looked at this and realized what we want to talk about. But again, a couple of people reached out to me and asked me, one, they haven't seen me go live in a while. I'm sorry, I've just been really busy, and I've been really busy with readings and groups and dems and stuff like that. So thank God for that. But so I try to go live, but I'm always available. Anyone could reach out to me, ask me a question. I'm always trying to there for someone in itself. And so people ask me about talking about fear because I was fearful. Put it that way. I was fearful. I was the one. I talked about this a long time ago in a reading. I'm sorry, not a reading. In a video here in this group, I talked about how I was the one that was fearful. I was the one that was always afraid. I was the one that canceled readings. Literally, I used to fucking cancel readings. It's a no-brainer. It's kind of funny because I was sitting, I did a dem last week. Yeah, it was last Wednesday. I did a dem in New York with Lisa Williams, and we were sitting in the back before going on, and we were sitting there chatting it up there. And it was funny because we were talking, that came to my mind, how literally I used to cancel readings. I absolutely did. And I think my mom actually came in the room at that point, because my mom was at the show, my wife was there, and we were talking about it. But I was the person that, in the beginning, as I developed, people would come in, and people could, would text me, literally text me, because they used to text me for readings, and that's how we start. They would text me for a reading, because my name started going around, and literally I would text them back. I would set an appointment up. I only did, I don't know, maybe like 2 or 3 readings in a week. And I was in my condo at the time before I was married and I had kids, and I had a roommate, and so there was really no other place to read but in the bedroom. So I would bring a chair, 2 chairs into the bedroom, because it was the only place we had privacy, and I would literally do readings there. And so when I did that, it was brilliant, but I was afraid. I was afraid every time. I just can't tell you enough how afraid I really was. Now, you probably have to know some of my past history, though, about that, because realistically, I was afraid because I always had low self-worth, or I was never good enough. You know what I mean? I had a pattern and conditioning, and therefore became a drug addict. And so, most of my life, I did drugs. I ran from myself. I ran from energy. I ran from my sensitivity. So for many, many years, I did that. Sorry if I don't look at the camera. It's just easier for me to just kind of get inspired to see what I want to say here and look off. But for many, many years, I did those things. And so the reason why I'm giving you some of my back history is just, again, to give you that I was deathly afraid. People see me now and they think like, I could really much hide my nervousness or that fear. You know what I mean? When I'm getting up and standing in front of 100 people or 150 or 200 people to do a demonstration, but I'm still nervous. But in the beginning, again, at these times, I would get text, I would make an appointment, and it would be, I was working another job at the time, and I was delivering printing stuff, and so I was driving around listening to podcasts of mediumship stuff and stuff like that, and literally. It was kind of interesting to me because I would make an appointment 6 p.m., 7 p.m., text the person, and at 3 o'clock, it was always the same, 3 o'clock, 3 p.m., this fucking fear would come over me, man. It was like this thing would start to take over, you know? And I would say to myself, my God, I'm not going to do this, you know? And so I would text the person, literally. I can't tell you how many times it probably happened. I would text the person, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling well today, and I need to I just need to reschedule. I'm sorry, you know, and sure enough, you know, they would take me back. They would text me back and say, oh, no worries, you know, just let me know when. And, you know, I would say, let's do it next Monday. And it was funny because, you know, right away it felt okay because it was next Monday. You know what I mean? It was a week away, and I was like, there was a relief, you know, there was this relief that I didn't have to go and read for this person. And actually, the funny thing is, a lot of it wasn't even mediumship. It was psychic too, as well, because people were getting my name for psychic readings at the time. That's what was going around. That's what I was doing at the time. And literally mediumship started happening through my psychic readings. And that's how I developed more into a medium. But these are the things that would happen to me. Now, I hate to say it. I wish, guys, literally, I fucking wish to tell you that there's some magic pill, you know, there's some magic potion, pill, saying, word. There's not. That's the thing, you know. I was thinking about after I typed this, and a couple of you actually started to, you know, comment like, oh, can't wait. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, I wish I had something easier to tell you. You know what I mean? I really did. I wish there was some sort of magic pill, there's some sort of potion that's going to whip us up into this confident medium. You know what I mean? Like Mr. Confident Medium. And I'm going to go and schedule all my appointments. But here's the thing. Again, and I say this to students that have worked with me. I say this to mentorship people. The number one thing that you can do for your mediumship is work on you, period. It's self-development. It's looking at yourself. It's peeling back layers of the onion. Why are you scared? Why are you nervous? There's a reason. There's an underlying factor of why you're like that. For me, I knew I was afraid of what other people thought of me. For me, I knew that I was afraid, you know, what other people think. I knew that there was this fear, will I be able to perform? You know what I mean? We don't think of it as a performance or reading, but it's like a performance if you think about it. You know what I mean? You're about to be judged. You're going to be judged. I remember I did a dem. I don't know, maybe a year ago in New York, and I remember driving to the dem, and I was talking to my wife, and all of a sudden I had this wave of emotion kind of come over to me, and I remember saying, I know. There's, you know, the thing about demonstrations, it was like 75 people are there, I think it was, because I remember it was maxed, and it would only hold 75 people, this place. And I said, you know why I get so nervous? Because 75 people are now going to have an opinion of me. 75 people are now going to judge me. Is he good? Is he not good? He's all right. This one's better. And it's like, that's the ego mind, you know what I mean? The small self, the ego mind, whatever you want to call it, there, you know? And you know, that's the shit that we have to walk through. And literally, there's nothing else that's going to get you through it. There isn't. It's going to be work on yourself, period. It's going to be work on yourself. Someone's just saying something. I'm trying not to, like, it's really weird to do this on the MacBook, because again, it's my first time, so I could see like your comments over here to the side, and usually on my phone they just pop up. But I see Kelly saying, "Oh, it's like a performing without rehearsal and practice." Yes, yeah. Listen, I would completely say that too as well, because literally, you know, anyone else that's going, you know, if you do a group, if you do a gallery, if you do a demonstration, people practice. You know, a musician practices, you know, They play that song so many times. A poet reads their poetry so many times. An actor practices acting so many times, you know? And so there's a scripted thing, or there's this thing that they're going to do. And yet a medium goes and stands there like we're fucking naked. And there's now, if there's 100 people there, there's 200 eyes on us. Maybe when someone maybe a couple third eyes, but there's 200 eyes on us, and literally, you feel like you're fucking standing there naked because you don't have a fucking thought or clue in the world of what the fuck you're going to say, and you're going to absolutely trust wholeheartedly that the spirit world is going to show up at some point. Hopefully it's in the beginning, and that you're going to make a connection. And yet we have all this trust here with the spirit world. You know, we put all this trust in knowing and having faith and believing, but yet it's so funny to me because sometimes people won't give their life to spirit. So I always find that funny, you know. They got to go out there and do instead of surrender to the spirit, you know, surrender to the spirit, and allow us to move forward where we're supposed to move forward to. But yet we do it, you know, we do it. We go in front of these people, and yet when it's done, it's like, you know, and hopefully it turns out good, but there's no practice. The practice is readings. The practice is development circles. The practice is grabbing a friend and saying, hey, can I practice an exercise with you for 10 minutes? The practice is intuitive readings. The practice is soul readings, you know. If there's anything that I can't say that I've seen more and more recently in the past few weeks, it is so imperative for a great medium to also understand energy of the intuitive. There's also great need and to understand how your soul operates. There's a great need to feel how your soul works. How am I connecting into someone else's soul? Let me do a couple soul readings. These are the practice that we need to do. This is the energy, you know. It's not just mediumship. I say it to everyone. That may be taboo to talk about, but it's the truth. How I became the medium that I am today is because I besides mediumship, I practice intuitiveness. I practice soul readings. I sit in meditation. I sit in the power. I sit in meditation, and I also sit in the power. I do it every morning like it's my fucking job, literally. And that's what I need to do, because that's what spirit needs me to do. You know what I mean? It's mind-boggling to me, amount of mediums I see sometimes that are not willing to carve out 10, 15, 20 minutes to sit with the spirit world, because they need, you know, we're always expecting us, you know, here, you know, we're so selfish. We really are as human beings. I think we are selfish to a point. But it's real interesting how we'll go to this place where we want spirit, work with us. Please be here with us. But yet we won't give them the time and day just to sit 15, 20 minutes on a daily basis and allow them to connect with us. Allow them to manifest around us and blend with their energy, and allow them to use me, not in a reading, just so they get aware. They become aware of our surroundings, me, my energy, my auric field, my consciousness. It's a merging, it's a melding, it's allowing that consciousness from our discarnate to come into the incarnate and allow this beautiful, beautiful dance between two souls, my soul and the spirit soul, and allow that energy to kind of then come up and through me and come out our etheric senses, whether that's clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, our main ones, but yet we won't do it. So for me, it's real important. We talk about, again, there's no magic pill that's going to get you there. It's doing it. It's beating on your craft, you know. There's a, you know, for me, I've always been very self-developmental, motivational to some degree. I need motivation in my life. I need to watch a motivational clip. I need to hear something motivational. I need to read something motivational. There's something there, you know, there's something that I need. It's a constantly taking a look at myself, and that's fine. But in that process of doing that, it makes me, again, just think of, I need to do more. I need to do more. How do I become better? So there's a motivational speaker, Eric Thomas. Most people may have heard of him. If you haven't, you can clearly YouTube him and you'll see a ton of stuff on him. But there's something that he always said, be on your craft. Be on your craft. That's what it is. And our craft is mediumship. Our craft is intuitiveness. Maybe you're just a healer right now. It's not just, but maybe you're a healer right now and you're trying to be a better healer, or you want to be a great healer. You want to go out and serve the spirit world or serve the universal energy because you want this, you have this unbelievable healing touch. And yet, you need to just keep doing it. You need to keep practicing. You need to keep moving forward with it. That's the thing. That's the key. There's no fucking magic pill. I've tried it. I'm telling you, I've tried all sorts of things. And hopefully I thought that was going to be, this is going to be it. This is going to be the one. This is the one that's going to make me confident. I'm never going to cancel readings again. I promise you, spirit world, I'm not going to cancel readings again. I swear. And then I would try it and it would fail and it just didn't do good and I would cancel readings again. Thank God. Thank you guys for always just still allowing me to serve and be the voice for the spirit world. And I think that's it too. So there's so many factors of this too. When we look at the other side of this, they say it's 10,000 hours to master anything. 10,000 hours to master anything. So do 10,000 practice readings, literally. That's pretty good. If you're doing an hour reading, there's 10,000 readings. Take out a piece of paper and start fucking counting, literally, of how many practice readings you've done. 10,000 hours to master anything. Now, if it's not just readings, then go and read. Pick up a book. It's so funny because I posted something on my personal page, and anyone friend requested me, I absolutely will always be there. And if you want to be friends on there too as well on Facebook here. But I would be friends with you in person too. But anyway, because I came out wrong. But I posted something the other day, and I said something about always being the underdog. I always want to be the underdog in everything I do, because that also makes me know that I always have work. There's always work. There's always more. There's always more learning. There's always more, a deeper connection. There's more. We're just scratching the fucking surface on mediumship. We're just scratching the surface. Even the best of the best, I believe, are just scratching the surface of mediumship. And I feel like the spirit world, as you take one step forward, the spirit world will take 10 steps forward towards you. If you put in the effort, the spirit world will put in the effort tenfold to meet you where you are at, And I feel like, if for me, what the magic pill was, again, it was nothing literally, it was beating on my craft. It was sitting in a circle. It was reading. It was meditating. It was sitting in the power. I literally fucking journal to my guides every morning, literally. Now, not every day lately. Maybe if there's 7 days in a week, there's probably 4 days I actually sit down and write. I have a morning routine, literally. I sit in the power, and it's 21 minutes. I sit in the power. I get up from there. I thank spirit, because I've just allowed them to use me. I'm not meditating. I'm actually sitting in the power. I'm sitting for spirit. That's really what I want to say. I'm sitting for spirit with absolutely no expectations, and I ask God in the spirit world to come forth and use me, blend with me, merge with me, get to know me. I'm there. And some days I feel them. Some days I feel them circle around me. Some days I feel like a circling like this, like they're washing almost like fucking my aura or my energy in some way. Some days I feel my God come close. I do know my calling card. I sat for a year. I sat for a fucking year in meditation to learn my Guide's calling card, like Gordon Smith talks about in Intuitive Studies. One of the first chapters he talks about, because I tried for a long time to try to figure out who my guides were. And the mind is so fucking powerful, it will give you pictures to think that this is your guide. I didn't see things, but I saw symbolism. And yet then Intuitive Studies by Gordon Smith came into my life, and I read it, and I said, this is fucking brilliant. And literally, I had a meditation circle in my condo. I had 4 friends, which I couldn't believe, that were not mediums, just spiritual seekers, that I actually met in the fucking club scene, which is even crazier, in the New York City club scene, because I was a bartender there. After I gotten sober, we sat for a year. I was shocked. They showed up every week at the same time for 1 year, and we worked on learning what we sat in a circle, we did meditation, and within 10 minutes after we cleared our mind, we called in spirit, and we all would feel our guides, and we all learned our calling cards, So it takes time too. It does take time. Again, I see a lot of people, pushing out there right now, and I'll be your biggest fucking cheerleader, because I'm like that with anyone. I feel like, you need a boost of inspiration, message me. You feel like fucking quitting, message me, because I fucking felt like quitting a lot. Let me tell you, I almost gave up 50 times, if not more, and literally someone just asked me about this the other day. I was telling someone, I think I was telling one of the mentorship students, I think Brandy's on, I was telling someone about my time, how I almost gave up. There was like a pinnacle point. I remember years ago that my sister called me. I was like, done. My first child was about to be born. I worked for my father. Took over the family business. I was safe. I was secure financially, work-wise, all that stuff. What the fuck do I have to go and do this? This is work. Mediumship is work. You know what I mean? Like, I still got to do that. And I could have just stayed, but something inside me, my soul, my spirit said this is not where I belong. And literally, I remember having a conversation with my oldest sister that wasn't so much of an actual believer. And I remember talking to her. I remember clear as day. I was pulling into my condo parking lot. It was right around Christmas time. I was having a conversation. She asked me what was going on, and I said, "Nah, I think I'm done with it." And she was like, "What? What did you just say?" And I said, I think I'm just done with it." And she was like, "No." I'm even shocked I'm hearing that right now. Why? Why are you saying that? You have an ability to help change someone's life. Literally, I've seen you. At one point, my sister brought me to a Starbucks actually to talk to one of her friends, and it was really like an intuitive type thing, I was going to do. And actually, her grandmother wound up coming through as we were sitting here in Starbucks, as I'm talking to her, and I gave her the evidence, and this girl starts crying here, and my sister was there and witnessed this the first time. Again, not really a believer, but now she kind of came a believer of everything that was happening. So, and that was one of her friends, so. My sister brought that back up and said, "You're fucking crazy. Like, literally, no, I'm not going to let you quit. I'm not going to let you give up, and you know why I wanted to give up? Because it was hard. Guys, fucking mediumship is hard. It is. There's no doubt about it. There's one of my first teachers said it best. Sharon said, "There's a fine line between insanity and mediumship." And it's the truth, man. There's a fine line between insanity and mediumship. But eventually, as you develop more and more and more, you understand what's you. And when you understand what's coming from spirit, you understand the energy in your clairaudience of what you hear as the thought of your vibration, and what you know of, it's really opposite. What you know as spirit's vibration, because that thought is a higher vibe to me compared to what my mind is giving me. You know what I mean? And that's really where you get. So many times, again, I can't even stress enough, you got to learn about you. You got to learn about how you operate, how your soul works, how your spirit works. This is a journey. This isn't a fucking race. Like they say, this isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. You know what I mean? And literally, like, I thought, listen, I thought fucking dead people were going to show up right in front of me, literally. And I was going to see the person and say, "Wow, I have your dad here." He shows me he wears a hat, a police uniform. He has 3 fucking medals of honor on there. He also shows me he had a tattoo of the Air Force. He was in the Air Force. Like, I literally thought the dead person was showing up in front of me like that, and no one ever told me. The funny thing is, my first teacher never told me. So that's even hysterical to me. Clearly, we went separate ways. But I really thought that this was going to be easy. I really didn't know it was going to be this hard. I didn't know. I thought that I would be, 2 years of development. I just thought mediums were, like boom, everything is just grand and everything and everything is true. And that I actually didn't have to work at it. Oh my God, I have to work at this? Fuck, I'm not doing this shit, and I don't know. For me, it's been work. I don't know anyone else that says it hasn't been. Show me someone that said this hasn't been work to them, and I'll come over and shake their hand, because to become a better medium, you have to do work. You have to work on yourself. You have to work with spirit. You have to work on developing your relationship with spirit. You have to find a greater faith within yourself. You have to have a greater faith within the spirit world. You have to trust yourself. You have to trust the spirit world. You have to feel things. You have to know things. There was a great conversation that I posted a while ago in the group. I don't know, it could even be a year ago now. My fucking timing's so off. But if anyone wants to look at it, it's YouTube, or I could post it again tomorrow or later. Facts and Fiction of the Spirit World, between John Holland and John Edward. John Holland's actually interviewing John Edward, and they're talking about facts and fictions of the spirit world. And literally, there's a quote in there that just came out to my mind, and it was something of the sense, or they're talking about the sensitivity. And John Holland, I think it was John Holland that says it. He says, the price of sensitivity is sensitivity. The price of sensitivity is sensitivity. So now you've opened yourself up mediumistically, and now you got all this other shit that's going on because you feel things, know things maybe, you feel guilt, you feel shame when you walk into a place, you feel anxiety, you have this overall, oh my God, I'm going to have a fucking anxiety attack, you know what I mean? And you have to start, that's what it is. You have to start learning you. And that's where I think development and meditation and sitting in the power to knowing what's yours, what's the spirit world's, what's your guides, all that stuff. And so that's why it becomes really a journey. It becomes a journey. It's been, I don't know, 8 years, I guess, for me. And I just thought that, it's funny because I thought that the devil was going to show up in front of me and present himself, and I was going to fucking just see them, know everything about them, and that was good. I presented it, and I would be 100% accurate, and that's just not how it fucking works. So again, going back to our original thing, how do you get rid of the fear? You got to walk through it, literally. There's nothing else you can do. You got to walk through it. Interesting enough, I've always had these really fucking crazy dreams, and yet I don't dream. So that's the funny part. So I know when I would have these dreams, that these vivid dreams were like they happened. I would have these dreams, and I know it was from my God. I knew my spirit was giving me this for a reason. And around this time where I was canceling a lot of readings, I had this dream, and I had interviewed Colette Baron Reed for something. I had an online spiritual magazine, so I had interviewed Colette Baron Reed and had a full-on interview over the phone with her. Then had an article, it was an article on a magazine. And so to me, Colette was like this ultimate, at the time, intuitive, one of the best probably intuitives I've ever seen. I know her mediumship has come forefront. She has a TV show in Canada now, but at the time, she was probably one of the best intuitives I thought in the world, because I've listened to her. I would listen to her podcast. I would hear her read, and I was like, holy fucking shit, she's good. And so Colette would actually, I had this dream with Colette, and I know that Colette was sober. I knew that Colette was sober. If you don't know any part of my story, I was a fucking hardcore drug addict. I have no reserve saying that because it's the truth. I got sober, and that's when everything happened for me. Literally, that's when everything opened up as I prayed to God, and I started seeing and hearing things that weren't of this world. But unfortunately, I didn't just fucking see a dead person stand in front of me and give me all the information I needed to give to for my sitter. It doesn't work like that. But I had this dream. It was Colette, and I'll never forget it because still sticks to me to this day. I woke up, I felt like I just had a conversation with Colette, and it was really weird. But we sat down, and we were in a place, and I feel like we were at a actually a demonstration, or she just demmed, and we were sitting now in a booth, and we're sitting across from each other, and I was actually asking her, how do I build more confidence? How do I not cancel readings? How do I move forward with this? And all of a sudden, she was like going to give me like the great fucking answer, the great answer. And I was waiting, like she's going to give it to me. And literally she was like, and nothing came out of her mouth. And I was like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? And then boom, I woke up, and I was like, motherfucker. I swear too, so sorry. But when I get passionate, I swear. I don't swear in DEMs though, so I'm very polite. Or technically in readings. But I knew it. When I woke up, it jolted up, and I said, and I knew it was from my God, and I was like, there's nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing. There's no pill. There's nothing that I can do but just keep walking through it. There's nothing that I can do but yet to work on myself, to build confidence, but to build worth within me, to build. Now, there's a real thing about over-ego, you know, we see that all the time. And I don't think I have that in any way, because I feel as though as I've worked on myself, we're able then to just take one step in front of the other, even if it's baby steps, you know, even if it's a baby step. We just got to do it. Now, there's a whole nother twofold thing around this. You've forgotten the magical ability. I don't call it a fucking gift. I don't call it a gift. It sounds very egotistical, to be honest with you. I'm gifted. Oh, I have a gift, you know. I don't call it that. It's an ability. It's absolutely an ability to me. Guys, all I can give you is my experience. It's an ability. And so I was given an ability to help change someone's life here in this planet, on this earth. And yet that person is calling me for the reading because the spirit world has seen enough trust in me, because I have the message or the references that are within me that spirit loved one's going to be able to use to give the message at that moment of time when that appointment is made. And yet we've forgotten how fucking magical that is, really. That we're connecting with a dead father there in the spirit world. A brother, a son, a sister, a mother, a husband, a wife. It doesn't fucking matter if it's your dog. Some people's dogs are their child. You are able to bring healing to them. And we've forgotten that. And if you remember that when that point of time comes up, when you have to make that call back to schedule the reading, or that text that you have to do and you're scared fucking shitless, you have to remember that your guide set this up to you in some way. Some way. They know you're the carrier. You're the voice of the spirit world in that fucking moment. And if you can remember that, just that one little bit, you make the call, you make the appointment, and then you know coming up to it, you have to just surrender. It's all about surrendering to spirit, surrendering to the mind, and allowing the manifestation of the spirit body, the manifestation of the discarnate, to allow them to come into me as the incarnate here and allow this beautiful communion. It's a dance with the spirit. It's literally a fucking dance, like a slow dance, like a romance to some degree. And that's how I have to look at it. Even though people that have seen me dem will say, I'm fast with my information, I'm blah, 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 blah. Your mom shows me this, that, and that. But it's still a fucking dance. I'm still romancing. Come on, friend. Come on. Come on. And if I'm not getting the information fast enough, I ask them to come in closer to me. You know, use me. Here's your one chance. One chance. One. That's it. You can go to 10 fucking mediums, but when a person sits with me, there's one chance that spirit, that discarnate has to get the information, what they want to say to their husband, wife, daughter, son, friend, whoever. And so that's why I'm always big on also evidence. We need evidence. Evidence is so fucking important in our readings, but yet you need to also surrender, because what the fuck do they really want to say? You know, what does the spirit world really want to say? You know, I watched you get married. I've seen you get your license. Even though I wasn't there, I was there. I've seen you. It's okay. So, again, going back, I'm trying to stay back into the fear topic. Work on you. Really, work on you. You know, some of the things I did to heal myself, and I'm still healing myself. Actually, Natalie gave me a soul reading. I don't know if Natalie's even on here watching, but Natalie gave me a soul reading today in the mentorship, and it was brilliant. Really, it was fucking brilliant. And I was really excited because it just was nonstop for 10, 15 minutes. She just kept talking and kept getting the information about me to a deeper level. I believe the soul level is different than psychic information, and you can feel out the energy. Absolutely. And when you learn that, those are the things that you learn about mediumship. Guys, it's not just about communicating to the fucking dead. Mediumship is an all-around great mediumship, understands it all, understands the soul energy. They understand psychic, intuitive energy. They understand spirit energy. They understand healing. They understand the spiritual healing to some degree. I'm not saying that you need to go out and do all of them. I'm not saying that. You know, become a master of your craft of one thing, but you need to understand these things, literally. And so this morning, Natalie gave me a brilliant one, and she brought up some of my stuff that I still need to heal on myself. I'm absolutely can't wait to take these next few weeks to go back and start to really work on these things for myself. So I'm excited about it. You know what I mean? But some of the things that I did to heal me, to work with me, to work with myself, to heal myself, I did EFT. You know, I did EFT tapping. You know, does anyone doesn't know what EFT is? It's tapping. There's 7 points technically on your body that you tap on as you're saying certain things to allow these things for a deeper subconscious kind of release of these old belief structures, these belief patterns. Again, and so I did tapping. And if you want to learn tapping, you can go on. I actually had a tapping coach. I hired a tapping coach at one point years ago, and she would literally tap through me, and we'd get to the core of some things of why I was going, why I was the way that I was, why was I so afraid, why was I afraid of success, you know what I mean, why was I afraid of being seen, why was I afraid of making the appointment, because I was afraid I was going to be judged in some way, you know what I mean. But so those are all those fears. I also I did self-hypnosis, you know. I did affirmations, you know. I did affirmations. Self-hypnosis, you can find scripts online, and you can go and record them in your own voice and then just play them back, you know, and put yourself into a hypnotic state, and then, you know, the subconscious gets impressed by the things that you're impressing it with, literally, you know, and that's in the script. I did affirmations. I've done affirmations a lot in my life, actually, so I'll go through bouts of them. Literally, just a couple months ago, I did 6 months of them every morning, 10 minutes a morning. Literally, and some of them was, I'm releasing my old patterns of fear and insecurity. That was one of my affirmations. I am releasing my old patterns of fear and insecurity. And so that also like invoked the universe and invoked spirit and invoked my soul to allow these things to come up to the surface and let me deal with them. You know what I mean? Because again, mediumship is more, you know, being a medium that has some confidence within themselves here, it's more than just doing good readings. It's being a better person. It's being an ambassador for the spirit world. Let's say that. We're being an ambassador for the spirit world. And so I did them. Like I said, I did literally 10 minutes every morning. Sometimes I would do affirmations, and I would actually tap through my affirmations. I would just say my affirmations as I tap through them. Like I said, self-hypnosis, meditation, you know, absolutely big. Meditation was huge for me. And I'm trying to think what else I did. I actually, at some point too, I went back to, I thought I was going to do Roan therapy. It's actually called that, but I found a guy in Ridgewood, New Jersey, and he was kind of like a holistic psychiatrist in some way, or psychotherapist in some way. And I found him, and I actually went back and did inner child work, literally. I did inner child work, and I played out where you sit in one seat and you talk to the, you know, the adult self talks to the inner child, and the inner child, and then you switch over to the seat, and this guy talks back to your adult self, you know, therapy. Now, I'll tell you this, too, and some people are like, what? This is crazy. I got to do all this stuff? Yes, because mediumship is work, you know. It takes work, and you need to heal yourself to some degree. And there's a absolutely brilliant medium, Richard Scholler. He is phenomenal. He's out of Long Island. I've seen him dem. It was actually the first platform workshop I ever took was with him, and of course he made me stand up and do a dem in front of everyone, which was scary as shit. But he's brilliant as a medium. Is someone I've never seen. He can literally look at someone and say, I have, as they're just standing up, I have your father, your mother, and your uncle. Who do you want to hear from? I have your sister, your brother, and your mom. Which one do you want to talk to first? It's like what? How does he just get like that? But he will tell you too as well, because I had a conversation with him many years ago, and he said he went back to therapy. He literally went back and spoke to a therapist for years as he developed and he started off his mediumship, because he literally would he would have all these emotions come over him, during readings and stuff like that. And so he literally went back to a traditional therapist and did some psychotherapy too as well. So there's a lot of things you can do, but there's no magic pill. There's a lot of things you can do, but there's no magic pill. That's the unfortunate part of it. As well. It's funny because I'm starting to feel less inspired. I always ask Spirit to kind of work through me, and hopefully someone gets some sort of a message. And I feel like my energy is not dissipating from my guys. So that's really, I guess, what I want to say about fear. That's what I want to talk about. About fear and the doubt. This was basically fear and doubt of making readings, or fear and doubt of scheduling appointments, or fear and doubt of following this path, if that's what you feel you should be going, and you feel drawn to, and wholeheartedly this is your path. I still didn't, to be fucking quite honest with you. I wanted to quit 50 times. I've said it to you. I wanted to give up all the time, and then someone would come along and give some message. I would get an email. One time I got a message from Colette Baron Reed, literally on Facebook, and it was like, what the fuck is happening here? You know what I mean? And I would read it, and there would be a word of inspiration to keep going. Or I would, I remember talking, some that know me, I mentioned with Tony Stockwell for 2.5 years now, but a year in England with him. And I remember the first year I did it in England with him, with a bunch of British mediums. And I remember talking to him one of the last weekends there, actually. He looked at me after lunch and he said, Anthony, are you all right? And I said, do you ever just want to quit? Don't you just want to give up? I just have that feeling, And he looked at me and said, every week. But we put on our big boy pants and we crack on. That's what he said. We put on our big boy pants and we crack on. Every week it comes and it goes. And it's the truth. Some of the people that mentored with me, there's like this other mini group, of everyone that's ever mentored with, because we have questions and everything else in there. And someone just came back from somewhere, AFC or something, and they came back in good spirits, so excited for them. And then a couple weeks later, they posted something and they asked about just wanting to give up, and I said the same thing. Again, it's not, like fake book, they talk about fake book. Again, all I can talk about is my experiences. It's not all peaches and cream. I had tough readings. I had a fucking reading the other day. I wanted to blow my mind because of these two sisters. Like, this one lady was just, nah, nah, nah. And of course I was right. I hate to say it like that. I don't mean to say it like that, but sure enough, I kept giving her the evidence and she kept wanting to say, nah, nah, nah. Just like that, like in my face too. And I was like, oh my God. And I finally got really frustrated and said, stop, listen, open your mind up here for a second. I'm telling you, there's a watch that your father has. It's broken. It's still here in the world. And I know it's with you, and she's saying, nah, nah. And that's when I said, you got to stop. And it's so funny because I let it go. And then we continued on with the reading, and the rest of the evidence was brilliant. This woman was like a real skeptic. And it was brilliant evidence, and she really opened up. Her energy changed. And towards the end of the reading, I said, and I'm going on, blah, 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 your dad, blah, blah, blah. But I'm telling you, there's a watch, and I know it's broke, and I know it's significant because your dad wants to keep bringing it up. And she looks at her sister and says, well, my husband has the watch. My husband has daddy's watch. And I went, what? Wait a minute. Stop it right now. You know what I mean? What did you just say? And sure enough, her husband has the watch. And it was so funny because after she validated that, all of a sudden I heard here from dad over here, he was the son I never had. And so I said, your husband was the son your father never had. And she looked at me and she said, fuck, that's what my dad used to say. he was the son that he never had. I said, good, I hope it is, because that's who I'm communicating with. But you get these people like that they're going to fucking drive you crazy, you know, and you leave there and you're like, why do I do this? You know, because, you know, you're going to get skeptics. You're going to get skeptics. But all we can do is put our faith and trust in the spirit world and show up. So getting back to the thing when this person posted this thing, and I went in there and I posted, I responded back to, you know, if you ask my wife how many times I want to quit, she'd probably laugh at you, because I think it's now once a month. It used to be once a week, but now it's like once a month. You know, I'll say to her, I don't want to do this anymore, you know, and she'll say, what? She'll look at me and say, talk to me tomorrow, you know, talk to me tomorrow about it. That's what she says now. She rolls her eyes and says, talk to me tomorrow about it. And so I go to sleep and I wake up, and as I'm drinking my morning coffee, she'll say, well, you know, and I'll say, I guess I'll keep going. I'll keep going, you know, and it's like, that's the thing, man. It just is the thing. That's what happens. So again, it's not easy. If it was easy, it'd be easy. If it was easy, it'd be easy. It's not easy. You just got to work through it. You got to hone your craft. You got to work more. You got to, like, I'm like, literally, even though I mentor people, I'm still looking for another mentor at this point. You know what I mean? I would love for someone to come along, but I'm leaving it to the spirit world. You know, I'm loving another medium to come along to mentor me to some degree, because that's my thing to the spirit world. You know, that's my thing with mediumship. Like, there's more. There's more to go. We know that we never stop learning. We know that we never stop developing, but there's more. There's a deeper thing that we can get to. And when you think that you got there, you're fucking wrong, because you're never going to get there. You're never going to give enough evidence, you know? You're never going to give the greatest message that could possibly be given until we work on ourselves, until we eat, breathe, and sleep mediumship. That's really what I want to say. So go out and do it. And you do it to your best ability right now. You do it to your best ability, you show up. That's number one. You know, you show up. And if you have to cancel a reading, you fucking cancel a reading. You know what I mean? You cancel a reading because you're not feeling well, then cancel the reading. If you're too nervous, you cancel the reading. No one's pushing you to go and do it. You reschedule it when it's another time. If you're not feeling well, reschedule it. You know what I mean? But eventually you will come to a point. Eventually you come to a point where it's like your own soul won't allow it to happen. You know what I mean? And it will push you onto a path of some sort of healing, of some sort of that. No, you know what? I don't want to do this no more. I'm not going to cancel on people no more, because there's a reason. You know, there's an absolute reason. The spirit world has chosen you, not because you're gifted, because you have an ability. You have an ability. You have an ability that was given to you most likely from birthright. You made this plan over there in the spirit world before coming here that you were going to show up and potentially help change people's lives through mediumship. And listen, we don't fucking heal. The spirit world heals. We're the medium. I don't cause a healing to happen. They do. I just listen and I give the information. And hopefully that seed is planted. So either then, when they leave, or a week, or a month, or a year later, it explodes. Boom. And something happens inside them that they absolutely know that there's no doubt that their loved one is there with them from the spirit side. You know, and so you were chosen for that ability, and so you were chosen to give that message. I live my life I call it spirit-centered. I live my life spirit-centered. All my opportunities that I receive, all the places that I'm asked to do dems, all my readings, I'm not really marketing to be out there. You know what I mean? People, they you know, I'm usually presented with the opportunity, or an owner will call me and ask me to come do something at their restaurant because they got my name from somewhere else. Same thing with readings, the same thing. So when I think that way, I know by just surrendering to spirit, I'm going to be okay. I know that for whatever reason, whoever's about to sit in front of me, I have what needs to be said, because they're going to say it through me. I posted something a while ago. I think I posted it in this group for people that are new here, that don't know me or have worked with me or watch the live thing. This was actually a Course in Miracles saying, and I just changed a couple of things. This is how I live. Someone handed this to me in the beginning of my development. I've always kept it since. I'm here only to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent the Spirit who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because the Spirit who sent me will direct me. I'm content to be wherever Spirit wishes, knowing Spirit goes there with me. I will be healed as I let Spirit teach me to heal. That's it. That's it. That's how I live. You know, I don't need to know what I'm going to say. I don't need to know what I'm going to do. As long as I work on me, I work on my mediumship, I build my references. People think, like, again, guys, it's a myth. It's a fallacy to think that you're just going to be like some great medium. You got to study. You got to work. You got to develop. You know, I have notebooks literally of references. You know, I have I study. It sounds morbid, but I study. I have a whole book of references. You know, what's the top 10 cancers in the United States of America? Or whatever country you're calling from, look at them, look them up. What's the top 10 ways to die here in the United States? What's the top 10 cancers? Because when I study them, they're references, and yet the spirit world, as they come in close, they quickly, lung cancer. I know your father had lung cancer. You understand that? I have a lady that stands here with me. I know she had COPD, feels like emphysema. Feels like your mom. Can you understand that? Is that true? Yeah, that's my mom, all right. Emphysema? Yeah, emphysema. Oh, God, thank God you're here. Take a breath here. Jesus Christ. And then we continue on with evidence around mom, you know. That doesn't come naturally. That comes because you work at it. That becomes you study. That's because you create a reference binder and you start to read that shit. And you study, you read, you write, you meditate, you sit in the power, and you do everything else. That's it. That's the magic pill. You want a magic pill? It's working. That's it. There's nothing else I could really say or give you in that aspect. I hope this helped. Really, I do. I hope this can shed some light. I hope this maybe shut some inspiration in you, put a little light on your soul, or put a little fire under your behind to go and do better. You know what I mean? Do better. I'm like, dude, I can't wait to just continually keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. Tony would always say this to me. It was so funny. Tony Stockwell would always say, my year in England, every time I would see him, he'd come over, Anthony, you know, doing well, you know, and he would give me a shot of inspiration, or he'd give me a compliment about my work, and I would look at him, but you don't understand. I want to go deeper, you know? How do I get to this level, you know? And he laughed. He would start laughing at me. He's like, mate, you'll get there. Trust me, you'll get there. Just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing. Go out and keep reading. Go out and keep doing what you're doing, because whatever you're doing, it's working. Just keep going. The spirit world will get you there. And so that's, you know, I have a fire inside me to learn more, and I hope that everyone else does too as well, because ultimately, what do we do it for? It's not to be the best. It's to be the best voice of the spirit world, literally. It's so you can give to someone, if there's one person that you can help once a week, and that you can undeniably give them some piece of information that their loved one is absolutely with them, and they're in the spirit world, and you watch that person's life literally change, or you feel that energetic shift and pattern change literally right in front of your fucking eyes. There's no drug. There's no alcohol, there's no feeling, there's no outfit, there's no pair of shoes, there's no materialistic pleasure, no new car that's ever going to be able to take away from that feeling alone, you know? And so that's why, for me, that's why I continually study, you know? That's why I keep doing it, you know, and want to become just a better medium. And becoming a better medium, guess what? I become a better person. Too as well. So I become more compassionate person as well, and that's something I strive to be in some way. So again, there's no magic fucking bullet. I wish there was. Work on yourself, you know, heal. You know what? You invoke spirit, you know, ask your guides, you know, ask them, ask the universe, ask God, you know, to put you on a path. Again, one of my affirmations I absolutely enjoyed when I used to say my 10 minutes of affirmations every morning was, I'm releasing all my old patterns of fear and insecurity. I'm releasing all my old patterns of fear and insecurity. And in that, it invoked the spirit. It invoked my guides and invoke God, the universe, your belief, whatever you want to believe to be true there, and invoke that invisible power to kind of bring things up and allow people to come, allow books to come into my life, allow these new meditations or whatever I felt drawn to go and do to heal myself in some way. So ask your guides to work with you, and maybe that's what you need to do for your next 6 months. Maybe that's what you knew. And now you still need to practice mediumship, guys. Just because you still need to go and do readings. Practice, sit in circle, meditate, sit in the power, read, and do all those great, wonderful things. Grab a friend. Don't shy away from intuitive readings either, too, as well. I know it's a taboo subject, but it's something I'm seeing more and more. You want faster info. Start to connect with people intuitively and practice those too as well. Because the faster you get information like that, it's the same, or the faster you could connect with someone's living soul and do a soul reading really quickly and just continually talking. It's the same. There's no difference between the incarnate soul and the discarnate soul. There's no difference. You'll get the information the same way, and you'll be able to just flow through your readings a little better or a little faster. People ask me all the time, how do I get faster information? Practice intuitive, practice soul readings as well. I didn't even know if there's any questions here. If anyone has like a burning desire question right now while I'm on, feel free to ask, and I'll look or ask again, because I didn't see any of it. I didn't really watch any of this because, again, I'm on my MacBook and I could see there's things here, and I was trying not to look because I just wanted to get the shit out of me. One of the other things I do want to say, there is also another group I was asked to kind of do a new group with some international mediums, so a British medium, a Scottish medium, some U.S. Medium, a couple. There's 2 of us from the U.S. There's England, there's Scotland, there's Ireland. I know a couple Australian mediums, but maybe one day I'll get there and meet someone to kind of put someone in over there. But it's called International Mediumship Development, IMD. You could look on it. I know there are some people who joined it. There's a couple or 100 people or so in there, but we plan to also have free circles and stuff like that. So if you're watching, maybe you want to go and join that too as well, just because there'll be the UK, Karen will do a circle, the Scottish, not Scottish, I'm sorry, Irish, from Ireland, Siobhan will go and do a circle 1 month. We'll do, the US ones will do a circle, but there'll be good stuff in there. I hope to also bring some live stuff in there too as well, and have some interviews and stuff like that with other mediums, physical mediums, and to talk about sitting in the power and all that good stuff. So check that out too as well. And I wanted to say something else. I am walking away from mentoring. I thought I was, but I guess I'm not. A lot of people have asked me too about mentoring, and I'm finishing up my last one now. I'm actually going to go away from it for just a couple of weeks because I need to do some healing on me. I need to go do more work on me because mentorship has taken a lot of time away from me. So I plan on doing some more work on me, healing. And I think in the fall time I'm going to start, but I'm actually going to walk away from doing the shorter mentorships now. I used to do 5 weeks. I'm going to, I feel Spirit actually drawing me to do a 5 month. I believe it's going to be 5 months. I'm sure it's 4 months. It might be 5 months because and it's going to be a small group, and just it's going to be mediumship, but it's also going to be one-on-one support. There's also going to be me being on with readings, doing readings with people so I could help critique them and show them where they're misinterpreting things from the spirit world. And there'll be group support too, but also goals and kind of like pushing people to come out of the comfort zone. So if anyone's interested in that, I don't even know how many spots. They might even all be filled, but just send me a message and I'll try to find out when I have the details about it. I'm working it out right now, Spirit, literally. So there we go. There's no questions. Oh, I didn't even see this. I'm so sorry. Mosaic mean anything to you? Not that I know of. I have to double check. Not that I know of. Why are you picking up that? Maybe I need something behind me that's mosaic. No, I'm just joking because there's like so white back here. No, I don't really know. Nothing that I pick up on there as well. Someone like just put a Canadian flag. I'm actually just got asked, by the way, to go to Canada, so I'm coming there. They reached out to me. They asked me if I would go and dem there, teach a workshop, and do private sittings there. So I'm going to Canada end of September. I just can't remember the dates. I'm there for 4 or 5 days and doing, I think, 1 or 2 dems and a full day workshop in Canada, in Ontario. Asked me, I could not tell you the name of the town. I have not a clue right now. It's on the tip of my tongue. I know it's up near Toronto. That's all I know there. So I'll be there in the end of September. So I'm excited for that too as well. What's the name of the group? It's International Mediumship Development. International Mediumship Development. I'll still be here too, guys. So I'm just saying though that over there you have a little more taste also of some international, some British, some the Irish, and different way. You'll see. I enjoyed when I went to England. I enjoyed England and working with 18 other British mediums when I was mentored by Tony Stockwell over there, because it really it showed me a lot about how we develop here compared to how they develop there. And so it's always good to kind of have a mix and a flow from people there too as well. So yes, that's that. Canada, yeah, Ontario, yeah, Ontario. I don't know. Again, it's north of Toronto, like maybe a half hour north of Toronto, I believe. Question, how do you know when you're ready to give readings for a fee? Do you have to do 10,000? No, Seema. I remembered your name because we worked with you today, even though it says super sass. No, you don't. No, I'm sorry. Don't literally take what I'm saying that you need to do 10,000 hours before you do a paid reading. That is not what I'm saying. Please don't take that like that. All I'm saying is that they say it takes 10,000 hours to master something. So I was saying go and do the 10,000 hours. And I think like a couple inspirational, motivational speakers say that as well. So the other thing is, no, you don't need to do that. You just know. I don't know. You develop. You start to do it, and when you can give a reading that is evidential. And the spirit, your sitter can understand who you have, you know what I mean? And you make a connection and the things are evidential, and you can not just do one, but a bunch, and you start to see a pattern forming that way, wow, I can actually do this, and this is pretty cool, and it seems I'm pretty correct. And before you know it, you start having people reach out to you, you start charging. Again, I can only give you my experience. That was my experience, for me, my spirit, I felt, pushed me into my first reading. I started giving readings for free and literally in person. My name started going around. I read for a hairdresser. The next thing I know, there's all these people calling me from this hairdressing salon. And I said, I guess I got to start charging. So I started charging $50 for an hour. And to be honest with you, most fucking readings went an hour and a half. And at the time, who's my wife now, but she was my girlfriend then, because I used to, and if you listen to the beginning of this, I used to bring 2 chairs into the condo bedroom, and that's the only privacy I had because I had a roommate. She had to go upstairs and watch TV while I did my reading. She would be like, what the heck? You know what I mean? When I'd come out, and she'd be like, it was an hour and a half, because I just didn't know, you know what I mean? And so that's how I started. And as people, my name just kept going around and around. Kim's on here somewhere. I saw her say something before, Kim Griffin. Kim I met very, very early on in my development at the Journey Within, Janet and Havoc's church, because we both were from New Jersey. I lived like 20 minutes from Janet's church, and Kim was studying with Janet and everything else. And I met her the first time I ever walked in there, actually. I got a message from a deceased friend of mine. And Kim met me in the parking lot. She was the crazy lady that rolled down a window. I got to tell you something, and she picked up on something else about my friend. So I walked over, we started talking, the whole thing. And she gave me her number, and we stayed friends. And then one time, months later, she said to me, just try, try. I never did a phone reading. Just try, and so I got on the phone with her, and I said, well, when? She goes, oh, call me tonight, 8 o'clock, and I sat there on my bed. I lit a candle, I sat there on my bed, and I put earphones on, and I sat, and I was like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm supposed to do, and she said, just, she walked me through it, and I picked up something that was happening on with her physically at the time, like her pain in her shoulders or neck or something, and then immediately I felt a pain in my head. And I don't want to give too much info because, God forbid, if someone has to read for her, they're going to take off me. But everything I was getting was actually right to some degree. And then I remember saying, right off the bat, she said, well, what does she want to say? And I said, she loves you. And she went, nah, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? There's so much more, it's not that she loves me. You know what I mean? And I was like, whoa, And so anyway, I had to, she taught me very quickly that's not what it was all about, you know. And so anyway, I thought that was funny. But again, you know, you'll know when you're ready. You'll know, you know, when to charge. Even like like someone asked me the other day, or someone asked me a couple, you know, it's been a common thing lately about asking, how did I know what to charge? Honestly, again, even with my fees, Spirit always moved me up. Like, I can't tell you, if anyone follows me on my Instagram, I'm always posting something inspirational, like every day, because that's the only thing I can live. You know what I mean? I was a fucking drug addict, literally, that couldn't get sober, that fucking should be dead, car accidents, head first into telephone poles, shot at by police in Fairfield, New Jersey. I should be dead, you know? And so there's people like, well, why are you always so inspirational? Well, why the fuck am I? I have to be, you know what I mean? Zig Ziglar says it best. Inspiration motivation is like shower. That's why we recommend it daily. But I'm big with surrendering. You know, I'm big with surrendering. So even my fees, or what I knew to charge, people started. I would be at one. I was at $50 in my beginning. Eventually, after some time, after a couple months or a year, all of a sudden, people started handing me 75, and like didn't want change. And I say, what? You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, I guess this is a thing. You know. And then, well, you know, like, couple of weeks went by, everyone did it, and I said, I guess I'm supposed to change my prices. So I would go up to 75, and then it would start happening again at 100. So I went up to 100. So even like my prices, that shit started happening, and I surrendered to that there in some way too as well. So yeah, yeah, you can offer freebies. Someone's saying about I still do free readings when I do my Facebook Live videos. Yeah, I think it's really hard. I know Kim Griffin does these dems on these things. I couldn't imagine what it's like waiting, because I'm like, I want to go. The energy like gets me going, and I want to give. So waiting for that feedback might be hard. But yeah, I actually still, I give free readings. I have no problem doing that. I try to give back from my newsletter, to pick someone from my newsletter for people, the muggles, you know, the normal people, we call muggles, the normal people, to make sure that I'm giving back there to some degree there as well. How do you work out fees? I've been told so many times. Oh, there, Amanda. I guess that's funny. I just read your question, so I guess I answered it. Maybe I'm psychic. Maybe I'm psychic. You know, because you literally just asked, and I feel like I just answered it there as well. So yeah, like you said, I started with a fee, and people kept handing me more and more money eventually, and literally just happened again that it just changed again. And it's funny because everyone started handing me more and more money. There, so that's fine. No, I don't, Charlotte. I don't believe in psychic attack. You know, people now we're going to go into like the taboo stuff here. I don't believe in psychic attack. I don't believe that someone has that power over us, and to give someone that power, I don't think is normal. So no, I don't believe in psychic attack. You know, a really good book is The Power. Guys, also too, mediumship is not about just reading. It's your experiences, clearly, but also not just about reading mediumship stuff. Like, read stuff about psychology, read stuff about the mind, read about the subconscious mind. You know, literally my first year, because I was just getting sober, I couldn't afford TV. Literally, I couldn't afford cable TV. So I read. Literally, I read books. That's all I did. I read and I meditated, because that's all I felt drawn to do. And I never was a reader. That's the funny part. I fucking hated reading. I never did good in high school or school. I was one of those kids. And so I read a lot. And so one of the great books I read was The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. And through there, I just came up, you know, listening to this guy that's studied the subconscious mind and is a doctor of the mind. I really realized that, you know, no one really has the power unless you believe. It's the belief that they can that allows it to happen to you. So if I believe I'm cursed, it's not the curse. It's the belief that I'm cursed. And then the universe, therefore, shows me more I'm cursed. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's something around that, you know, there. So it's the power that you're giving over them too as well. So I think that's it. Can you post a link for the international page, please? I'd love to join in. I'm from Australia and have minimal contact with mediums here. Yeah, Amanda, I don't have the link on me. It's just go into search an international mediumship development and look in groups, and it should come right up. There, or if you can't find it, send me a message, you know, send me a DM and I'll DM it to you there as well. I hope this helped, guys. Again, a lot of people ask me about the fear. You just got to keep walking through it. Listen, I'll never forget. I'm going to leave you guys with this story, because then I really got to go up and spend some time with my wife and kiss my kids goodnight. But because my kids are my world. I'll leave you with this story. Many years ago, this is before my development. This was when I was, active member of AA, because I was. I had a sponsor who was taking me through the 12 Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I was leaving my father's business, actually. And I was going to go into sales, So I took a huge pay cut to start in the sales job because I just didn't want to work for my dad no more. I was in my 20s. And I remember we were all out after a meeting one night, and my sponsor, who was really a close friend of mine, said, he said, you okay? It was like the next day I was leaving, and I was like, I'm really nervous. I'm scared. I'm really afraid. I'm afraid to leave, And he told me this story, and so this is what I'll leave you with. He said, if fear had to take on a body, fear had to take on a body, and literally you had to fight fear in a boxing ring, and it took on a body, and you had to fight it. But you got to ask fear one question first, and it had to tell the truth. What would the question be, and what do you think its answer would be? And so I had said, I don't know. And he said, how do I defeat you? So we would ask fear, how do I defeat you? And what do you think fear's answer? Don't listen to me. That's it. It's just fear. It's just fear. You can't listen to it. It's in the mind. You have to let go of it and move forward from it. Don't listen to it. You got to just keep putting one pass in front of the other. Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Sherry. Sherry, you always sign up for the thing. I swear we're gonna get to you, and you're gonna sit for one of the people, because I know you're always signing up. So, but yeah, the master of our mind, and not mind being the master. Absolutely. Again, that's also stuff from. That's like probably some new agey stuff out there you could read. I like more. I want to say traditional, if there is that, read the Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, like the wisdom of those type of sages, that's what I take from what Sherry's saying, because that's what he talks about, controlling the mind and then allowing God to kind of work through you in certain ways. But absolutely, you have to control the mind. It's so crazy. I was sitting out in the sun today. I think I got sunburn. I could start feeling it on my face. So anyway, good. Thank you guys so much. I'm sorry to ramble on here, but I felt like that was what was needed to heard. Hopefully it helps. Anyone ever have questions, please reach out to me. And have a good night.